Going on in here. I can check in with the audience. Where was everybody at? Hold on here. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Wednesday, the day before Halloween. Let's see, let me join in here. Good morning, Facebook. Good morning, LinkedIn. Good morning, YouTube. There we go. There's the live stream. It always takes a few seconds. All right. So as people are getting checked into the room, come on and check in with me. Rep your city, rep your hood. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Okay, I've got an amazing episode scheduled and planned for you today. Super excited about it. So as we get everybody rolling in to the comments, a couple questions I have for you guys. All right. Good morning. I see Chandra Thomas in the house. Good morning. Good morning. Good to see you. So I got a couple of questions for you guys. If you've ever struggled, right, to stay positive through a career transition, if you've ever had that happen to you before, let me know. Let me know in the chat. Put a one in the chat if that's you. Good morning. Chandra says she's from Garland, Texas. Good to see you here with us. Let me pull up the rest of the comments so I can see y'all here as well. Good morning. Good morning. Right. If you've ever had a career transition and it was hard to stay positive through that, put a one in the chat for me if you could. And second question, yeah, Chandra says yes. She says absolutely. If you've ever felt stuck between where you are and where you want to be in your life, whether that's in your career, maybe it's your business, maybe it's relationships. If you've ever felt stuck, you're like, I'm just not where I want to be. Right. If that's you, I want you to put a two in the chat. All right, put a two in the chat. Now, if self-doubt has ever, held you back from becoming the leader you know you can be, all right? That negative self beliefs, we get in our own head, you know what I'm talking about? If that's you, I want you to put a three. If that's ever, I know I've done it, okay? Sometimes we get that thing where we start telling each other, telling ourselves we can't do it. Right? I know I've done that before. Can't do it. I got a project I'm working on right now, and it's this huge, massive project I've been working on for the last 6 months. And sometimes I'm like, oh, I get in my own head and I'm like, self doubt kicks in, right? If that's you, I want you to put a three in the chat. All right. If you've ever had that happen, if you've ever wanted to reinvent yourself, okay, you're like, I'm not where I want to be. I want to reinvent myself. I want to step into a new role. I want to make a career transition. I want to pivot. If that's ever been you, I want you to put a four in the chat. Okay. Just put a four in the chat. All right. Because I'm super excited about today's episode. I've got an amazing guest who can really help us to overcome a lot of those things. Right. So if you guys are ready, let's rock, let's roll, let's go. Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Who You Know Show by Clear Path Wealth Strategies, where what you know is important, but who you know can make all the difference in your wealth, your health, your business, your career, your relationships, and in your life. I'm your host, Trevor Houston, and on today's episode, it's all about tackling career transitions and leading with your heart-centered positivity. It's about being positive. Because if you're dealing with change, maybe you're stepping into a new role or you're just, looking for more purpose in your life, this episode is exactly what you're going to need. Because I've got a guest today. We're going to talk about some real stories and some practical tools, some tips, and some different ways that you can really move forward with confidence, because that's ultimately what it's all about. So, our guest today is Julie Nee, and she knows exactly what it takes to thrive through transitions and to empower leaders to really shine. Because, again, when you're in a career transition, you know, it can impact your confidence and ultimately dim your light. So, she wants to help you to shine. It's all about clearing that mental fog, right? That's in between your ears and holding you back from really truly unlocking your potential. So whether you're just learning to love the person in the mirror or embracing a new opportunity. Julie's here today on this episode to drop some serious wisdom. So I'm super excited. Let's rock, let's roll, let's go. Julie, welcome to the Who You Know Show.
Trevor, oh my gosh, that might be one of my favorite intros ever. I love how you just pull a couple little nuggets here and there and don't read a formalized bio and just like, here we go. Yeah, that's right. You're doing an early mic drop. I love it. Thank you for that.
Absolutely. Well, you're welcome. Well, I'm excited because, I've been through a lot of those questions myself as I was setting it up because, like I said, I self-limiting beliefs, sometimes it gets into our head and causes us to lower our confidence level, and it impacts us in so many different ways. So I'm excited you're here because you really help people with this positive stuff. And so how do you think, that kind of leads me to my first question, which is, how do you think positive thoughts and positivity plays a role in navigating career transition? What do you think about that?
Well, I think positivity plays a role, honestly, in everything in our lives. And sometimes inside my work with John Gordon, we say we're not positive because life is easy. We're positive because life is hard. And when
Mm,
you talk about a career transition, transitions are hard. And if we let negativity and self doubt and terrible self talk and all of that stuff creep in when we're trying to make a transition that, in theory, is going to be a great new thing for us, it can slow us down, it can shut us down, it can set us back. So, positivity is everything, really. And all of our lives starts in the mind. Everything
mm.
starts with our mindset.
Well, and I agree with that. And sometimes it's easier said than done, right?
No
Like you
doubt.
go through a season in your life, especially if that transition wasn't something that you asked for, right?
Right.
Um, and we go through these seasons, and I mean, not just career transition, it could be maybe you're saying goodbye to relationships, meaning, maybe you got a divorce, maybe you're moving into a new season of your life, right? And how does somebody really take a moment to reframe their mindset? Because again, it is all about perception. It's either half empty or half full, right? The glass. So, but when you're going through it, your emotions, it's like, you just want to cry. You're like, I just lost my job, or I just got my wife's divorcing me, or whatever. How do you go, no, 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 no? How do you flip that script and look at it half full?
Well, I'll give you two examples. I'll give you a
Okay.
personal one and a work one. And I love that you use the word reframe because that's really what it's all about.
Mhm.
So I'll give you the personal example first. And that is my husband and I are very recent empty nesters. So our
Okay.
youngest son just went off to college. And when he left, I was devastated. I was
Mm.
walking around the grocery store like, I don't need to buy that. And I don't need to buy that. And it's so sad. And my house is so quiet and like wah, empty nest, empty nest, empty nest, right?
Yeah.
And then someone said to me, your nest is not empty, your nest is open. And your nest is open and ready and prepared whenever they want to come back and come home and be welcomed and loved and all the things. And I was like, wow, that's a pretty good reframe. That's not even my own idea.
Mhm.
So, but I just loved that idea of just viewing it as an open nest. And now every time my kids come home, both of my kids were home this weekend, and it was like, come on in, welcome. And then I can get all the groceries and I
Mm.
can do all the things. And maybe I'm going to baby them a little bit, but just thinking about it as an open nest and then looking forward to the cool things that come with the empty nest. So
Mm.
now I get to travel with my husband. Now we get to go to both of their colleges for all the football games and have fun and
Mm.
hang out with them as adults and, just all the new things that come with that. So I think it's really that reframing of this isn't all sad and doom and gloom, but there are
Mm.
lots of cool things that come with something new, even though maybe I was sad when they hit the bricks, right? Like when we moved them in and they left. So that's a personal example. And then I'll share a work example as well. And that was when I left the Hershey company. So I spent a couple of decades in sales and sales leadership with the Hershey company. I was selling candy and leading teams all over the US, and I needed to go, and it was time to leave. So it took a couple of years of kind of thinking about it and planning and all the things. But when I left almost 10 years ago now, I started working with John Gordon. And for those who don't know John, he's a best-selling author and speaker, like multiple best-selling author and speaker. And
Yeah.
I wanted to be a speaker, and there were a lot of things that led to it. But I had used John's work from the Energy Bus inside my team at Hershey, and I saw how much it worked, and it just planted this huge seed inside of me that I was like, oh, I need to share this work in a bigger way, and I want to speak about the Energy Bus. Well, guess what? I left my big corporate, well compensated position, and I started out speaking about the Energy Bus for free
Mm.
and for very, very little money. And so when you go through a change like that, of course the self doubt is going to pop in. And of course you're going to say, after 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years of hustling, who am I to do this? And maybe I should
Mm.
go back and get a corporate job, and all the things. And it's hard not to let that stuff crop into your mind, especially when you used to be a big contributor to your household financially, and now you're not. And what kind of identity things are tied to those. So there's a lot. So I had to really, really work on my mindset during that time, and I had to
Mm.
learn how to believe in myself and how to reframe that whole idea of starting over from what I sometimes would say, oh, I'm starting from scratch, I'm starting from nothing. But the truth is, I wasn't starting from nothing. I was starting from over 20 years of business experience
Mm.
that led me to
Mic drop.
start
Go.
building. That gave me the skill set to build what I was doing now. So, and the other thing I want to say about that, just around the idea of reframing that you mentioned at the very beginning, is I had to go back and look at the record, because when I started saying to myself, who are you to be a speaker? Who are you to do all this stuff?
Mm.
Then I went back and I looked at the record of my career at Hershey, and I was like, oh, I taught that training class for a whole year. I spoke on the national sales meeting stage this year and that year and this year. And I presented to senior leadership all the time, once a quarter, and all the things. And I was like, huh, that's interesting. I actually do have a lot of experience being a speaker. But I had to remind myself. And so we have to go back and kind of look at the record and remind our brain that we're
Mm.
not really starting from scratch when we make a change, whatever change that is. Even you even mentioned, divorces or relationship changes or job changes. You got to look at the record and what you've already gotten through and show your brain that you've done that.
Mm.
And so you did it then. Why can't you do it now?
I love this. I love this. So, a couple of things that I gave you the mic drop because you're not starting over, you're starting from experience.
That's right.
And, you got lessons and you've got things that hopefully you've been learning along the way, hopefully. But what
Absolutely.
I like about what you said is it sounds like in both examples, it really is about taking inventory about
Hmm.
what that change looks like and what the opportunity is, the positive, and stop looking at the negative, like what you said about being the empty nester. So I want to sit down and maybe look at, hey, here's all these new things that I get to do. I get to go travel
Right.
and go to the colleges and go to the games, and I get to entertain and make a big party when they come home, and I get to do this and do that. And like looking at it from again a glass half empty
Hmm.
mentality of positivity. What are the positive things that can go on here? So as an example, for someone maybe going through career transition, okay, cool. Remember, you're not starting over, you're starting from experience. Okay. And what are the things that are positive? I want you to write all of those down on a piece of paper. Well, hey, guess what? Right now in this season, you've got more time. You have control over your time. So what could you do with that time that you have right now? Could you go get some things done that maybe you've been putting off and procrastinating on, the honeydew list around the house? What are some things, think about the positives. There are positives if you're looking, right? If you're not looking, right? where your focus becomes your reality. So if you're focused on doom and gloom and oh my gosh, and I can't believe this is happening to me, and I'm running out of income, and
Yeah.
right? Well, guess what? That's your reality. If you're focused on why your life sucks, then your life's gonna suck. Like,
I mean, Trevor, I cannot agree with you more. We say all the time inside our work, how you see the world determines the world you see. And I say those exact words often about if you're looking for doom and gloom, you're going to find it easily. There's plenty of it to go around. We
oh
can
yeah,
all find doom and gloom everywhere, especially right now. Holy bananas. We're like a 1 week leading up to the election and all
right.
the things. But what are you looking for? Are you looking for the kind people? Are you looking for someone who holds the door for you? Are you looking for the smile? Are you looking for the compliments that come your way? Like, what